Is there anything in recent history from the Democratic Party in terms of tax proposals or Green New Deal proposals? Is there anything that gives you pause at all, or are you just full bore behind it 100%? Where are you, Austan?
Well, I'm not for this specific Green New Deal proposal. I thought that it went too far for me. The idea that we should be trying to get more clean energies and more sustainability, and we should take climate change seriously, I am for that.
Okay, how about some of the tax proposals, though? I mean, what you just said, I don't know what giving people unwilling to work, I don't know, a paycheck, I don't know what that has to do with the green economy and some of the other things in there.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Now, in fairness, this was one proposal by two Congress people, one in Congress, one in the Senate.
I know.
And that was a fact sheet that they pulled down.
Well,
so
I hope so.
I don't. It sounds to me like you're vesting a little too much hope in one proposal.
Well, wait a minute. Are they shutting down Peter Luger's anytime soon? The steakhouse in Brooklyn. I mean, did I read it wrong?
In this thing, it was talking about we're going to get rid of air travel. We're going to replace 99% of cars. I mean, it was a more of an out there proposal.
A turkey club's going to be toast and like tomatoes or something. It's going to be awful. You're not going to like it.
Trying to use that to justify
how about 77% on how about wealth taxes? How about some of the other stuff?
Let's just return to the Trump tax cut, which remains
the most
unpopular tax cut in the history of polling in America. It has a 28% approval rating, despite being a $2 trillion cut.
I remember when Obamacare had a horrible, I mean, for 8 years, it didn't have a majority.
Obamacare is much more popular than the Trump tax cut.
Yeah, but for 8 years it didn't, and you told me that's because people didn't people didn't understand it. You told me people didn't understand it. I'll just... People, but maybe they don't understand it. They're getting their tax.
I'm getting tired of so much winning, Joe. I'm getting tired of so much winning.
I guess you missed the job.
Wait, maybe people will realize they've been deeply wrong about this tax cut. And actually,
where are you going to be on January? Where are you going to be on January 28th?
Let's check retail sales. What were retail sales? Oh no.
Where are you going to be on January 28th? I guess you'll be unavailable when the GDP number comes out above 3%, which is 50% higher than.
January 28th, it already passed.
Right. Oh, February 20th. On February 28th. You're going to be unavailable that day because you didn't come close. It's 50% above anything you ever got.
If you mortgage your future with debt and deficits, you can do a lot with the growth.
You're talking about those 8 years from 10 to 20 trillion?
Look, 2017, Donald Trump's growth rate was 2.2%. 2018, with the glorious tax cut, with a 28% approval rating, is on path to be 2.8%. So
be 3,
was it worth it to get an extra half point of growth to use up $2 trillion?
You know it's going to be
2.8 corporations.
No, it's worth to get 50% higher than what the Obama administration average is worth something.
It's 0.2 of a point higher than what the Obama administration.
What do you have the 8-year GDP average for Obama? Because I've got it below 2%.
Joe, here we go again. You want to put the recession that started more than a year before Obama got in office.
Right.
You want to include that as Obama's growth rate.
Right, because I remember during the Reagan recession, it was a very sharp recovery, and we had the worst recovery since the World War II from a deep recession.
Joe, I know you're older than dirt, but we're going to go back 40 years for you.
We can go back however long you want. When you layer regulation after regulation, you put on Obamacare for that's your biggest initiative in a recession for the first 2 years.
Under Trump not been higher than 3% for any year?
It's going to be 3% for 2018, most likely. The CBOE says 3.1.
2.8%.
Okay, we'll see.
Hey, Rick, my question for you.
That's Austan. He sounds like Rick.
Austan.
I sound like. Who's he sound like?
Rick is rolling over.
Help me with this, though. In terms of where you think the Democratic Party really is, I know where you are, and I think you think of yourself more as a moderate or closer to the center relative to what we're seeing with the Green New Deal. But the question is whether you think both the party and the country are moving in that direction.
Look, I would say there's pretty widespread feeling among the Democrats that A, it was a mistake to give a $2 trillion tax cut to high-income people and corporations. And there's widespread agreement among non-Democrats about that, too. And they want to reverse it. They want high-income people to pay more of their fair share, as they say. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you give somebody $2 trillion that they didn't need.
Tax, would you be in favor of treating capital in the same way that we treat ordinary income?
I have been in favor of that in the past. It depends how you did it.
Are you in favor of it today?
Well, it depends how you did it. I mean, obviously, when you start looking at stuff like that, the details matter. But I think the argument that for high-income people, we should allow half the tax rate on capital income that we allow on actual earned income is a little bit goofy.
May I ask a non-political question here? In terms of how the markets have reacted, Austan, to this retail sales number, the worst in at least 9 years, is it concerning to you, or is this a number to look through?
Mostly to look through. You got to get a lot more data before you conclude, that if this continued, I think people would be talking about we might be in a recession. Now, I think overall the economy's been going pretty well. We had some numbers that were quite strong. The jobs number was quite strong. But as you know, for years, I've been saying that the Fed is way overconfident in how and what it thinks growth is going to be a year from now. And so they've used that to psych themselves up into we're going to be able to raise rates all these times. And they just systematically disappointed something like 36, 37 quarters in a row. And I think we're chugging along, but we're not chugging along at a fast enough rate.
I don't know. If I had to pick a number, I think I'd look at the 4% unemployment before one data point of retail sales to decide on a recession, wouldn't you, Austan? I guess we could be.
Yeah, I think that's right. I agree with you. And look, we have had, this is a bad number, but we have had good numbers in a variety of things. And it is true that with government shutdowns and threats over the debt ceiling, historically, those are some of the biggest destroyers of consumer confidence. And now it usually ends up being a temporary smash to the confidence numbers.
So I know your proposal is to release the GDP on February 29th because we don't have it. So you just would rather not have it come out at all because there's no. But it's coming out on the 20th, and we're going to ask you to come up.
I want a big number, Joe.
All right, we got to go.
But if it's a bad number, you owe me dinner.
All right. Do we have to eat it together? No, well, we would do that. I would do that. All right. Thanks to Austan Goolsbee, University of Chicago, Booth School of Business professor.